Alright, y'all. Hey. I finally went and saw The Batman. I know I'm like a month late, but I'm actually happy I waited to watch it. One, because there was nobody in the theater and nobody was around to like touch me. So. But anyway, let's talk about this and how I felt. My overall thoughts about the movie is that everything was Bruce's fault. I know that's probably not the message that they wanted me to get, but for real, that's the message that I got. Had Bruce gotten proper counseling or therapy after his trauma from his parents being killed right in front of him, and as Alfred said, he wasn't enough for him, he needed a father or somebody else, then Bruce would have stepped up to the plate, taken over his family's foundation, and some of this criminal activity that's been going on probably wouldn't have happened. So everything was Bruce's fault. He's one to run and be like, oh, my emo kid. Oh, I'm so that I'm not lying. That's seriously what I got from it. I mean, I understand they wanted to establish him being different from all the other Bruces that we've seen, hence that ridiculously long narration about him being the vengeance in the beginning. Right? That could have like been cut like in half. But I really did enjoy, in fact, for the word enjoy, I loved Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, as Jim Gordon. No, for real. I feel as though his character is the only character who I could actually see his beginning trajectory of him becoming Commissioner Gordon. Because first, he's just a detective. And while this crisis is happening with the flooding, you can see where he starts making these decisions and being the leader that Gotham needs. And you're like, okay, this is a moment where people will start seeing him as Commissioner Gordon. You can see, and then Colin Farrell as Penguin. I always appreciate it when actors go the extra, I won't say extra mile, but really lean into the physical transformations, whether they gain actual weight or the really well done costuming, because we all know Colin Farrell's beautiful. If you don't think Colin Farrell's beautiful, I don't know what to tell you, but I enjoyed his transformation as Penguin. Although I wanted some more of it, I did miss the Penguin waddle. I didn't really see that a lot. So, or like, he didn't really have like the hook nose that I was looking for. But again, they weren't really going for like the caricature of Penguin. It was something else, but I respected it. And I felt like the Falcone, Maroni storyline about that. I mean, that's fine for the background. That was fine. It didn't take away too much from anything. But I can really say I was a bit disappointed in the Riddler, because I feel as though almost every other Riddler character that I've ever seen, or that I remember even from, cartoon, because I always watch like the animated series, I wasn't super into the comics, so I'm not sure which world or universe this may be getting its source from. That I always felt as though the Riddler was one of the psycho crazy geniuses. Like, that was one of the things that drove him into madness, that he was just too smart for himself, too smart for his own good, and that's what, drove him crazy. That was his flaw. That's what, but for this Riddler, it was just a pure case of revenge on the system, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's not what I wanted from my Riddler. Like, I really enjoyed the actor that was in Gotham as the Riddler. I feel as though he's just the right amount of crazy, but like with finesse and stylishness without being Jim Carrey. So I was a little bit disappointed in this Riddler. But I did love, if he had been a different villain, I'm not sure what other villain he could have been, the story would have been okay. Whatever. Now, I did not enjoy Zoe Kravis as Catwoman. That's just it. I felt like she was ineffectual. And sometimes I just feel that her character being in the movie was unnecessary. I felt her whole storyline did nothing to the movie. You could have taken it out and the same results would have happened. Her being Falcone's daughter, that had nothing to do with anything. Like, they could have saved Catwoman for another movie if they had to have her. She did not need to be in this. I would have created all the Catwoman scenes for more scenes of Andy Serkis as Alfred. 100%. She just was not necessary to this film for me. So, yeah, we're going to cut all those out or something. Okay, then I also just felt like the movie may have been just a little bit too long. I felt so it didn't need to be like, about 3 hours. It didn't. It could have been like 2.5, maybe 2:45. I don't know, but I did feel like it was dragging a bit, and I did look at my watch and be like, we're still going. And I think there was 2 scenes, and then there was these 2 scenes where you can see Bruce is kind of going on his journey, where he's realizing he doesn't have to be the vengeance, he can be hope as well, where he is with the what is that thing called, the flare, and he's going to go save the people from the water, and they're all like, oh, I was standing there going, let them drown, they don't want your help, Bruce. But him being there with the flare and the people like following him and helping, I felt as though that scene was enough. We didn't need again another scene similar to being on the roof and carrying the girl. I felt as though those 2 scenes did the same thing, so I didn't need both of them. But overall, it was okay. It wasn't horrible. It was just okay. And when we get the next one, I don't know if I will remember what happened in this one, if it needs to be carried over to the next one. I mean, how did y'all feel about it? I know I'm a little late, but let me know how y'all felt about it, and we can talk about it if you want. So